Hello friends and welcome to bisptrainings.com. My name is Amit and today we are going to see one interesting analysis on OBIEE12c under Advanced Analytics. This is session number 1 for Advanced Analytics and we are going to use how to use bin function. And in order to visualize the data of bin function, I would be using heat matrix. This is new visualization in Oracle OBIEE12c. So in one example, I am going to show you both the methods. So what does bin do? As it seems to be a familiar term, in the prior version of OBIEE as well, we used to have a bin. We can create bin or a bucket through which we can categorize our members, dimension member. The same thing happen or the measures. Bin function create discrete number of bins, right? And the bin function classified a given number expression into specified number of equal buckets. So to make it easy to understand, let's take an example in Excel and then we see how to do the same in OBIEE. Okay. So assume I have this data. Okay. This data which talk about sales. Assume this sales from different customer. So first column is sales from different customer or from different store. And then if I want to create a histogram for this, the visualization of this data can be done using histogram. We can create different buckets and we can visualize using histogram. So I like to create number of buckets, 6 buckets with the minimum value is 1000 and maximum value is 6000. So a 6 bucket will be created along with the frequency. So in Excel we can use this option. We can create under data analysis, under histogram, and I can define the input range from A2 to A21. My bin range is 1000, 6000 and number of buckets are 6. And I'll be using, I would like to display this as a chart output. Okay, so click OK. The chart has been created and you see the data turns out to be meaningful to me. I can see the frequency. So the sales with 2000 has 9 frequency, sales with 6000 has 2 frequency. So I can identify the most of my sales or the number of or the count of sales is 9 with the sales amount is 2000. The similar kind of analysis we would like to do in our OBIEE. So what is input? You need a measure called sales, number of buckets, minimum value and maximum value. The same exactly you find over here. So when you look at the bin syntax, you find over here bin. We'll see the syntax along with the example. Bin number expression. So I use revenue in this example, and by customer. So maybe you like to create bin based on customer or store, and then you define number of bins. So you can specify count 10 bin or 30 bin, and the bin value lower value like 1000 in our Excel example and highest value is 6000 in our Excel example, right? So these arguments you pass when you create bin function. Now let's see how it look like. In order to make it meaningful to analyze, because once you look at the output, numbers won't tell you all information. The visualization of number makes sense for the end users. So I create a heat matrix over here with the intersection of revenue in my column and margin in my rows. You see revenue in my column and margin in my rows, and the color is being controlled by number of orders. So the darker the color, the more the order, isn't it? So this way I could see the darker over here. We have large number of order with the intersection of 9 revenue and margin is 15 with a bucket 9 revenue bucket and margin bucket 15. Okay, so this makes sense to my end user. Now let's see how to build this. So I'm going to use OBIEE sample sales in order to solve this problem. Let me visualize this how it look like. So eventually once we build our output, this is how it look like. We would be using heat matrix like this, and in addition to this I also shown you tabular view. But tabular view output won't be much meaningful for the user to analyze. Okay, so you see you have number of order count and the bin for revenue and bin for margin, both bin. Okay, so let's see how to build this. You can go to new analysis, use sample sales, and I need revenue, I need margin, and I need order count in this example. So first I take revenue, and revenue I want to create bin. So I go to the formula, edit formula, and use a bin function. Under function section you find aggregate function bin, and there we need to define an argument. First argument is number expression, which is your revenue. By, I like to create this bin by customer count, or it could be store count. So let's say customer count in this example. I use customer and use customer count. Into number of bins, I create 10 bins so that it makes sense. You can define user define specific value, and between minimum and maximum range. So I define minimum and maximum range over here between 0 to the maximum value in this case is 22,000, 2,20,000. Okay, so I define value. You can take the maximum value of the revenue and define the value. This is user specific. Okay, and rename it as revenue bin. It's between and this. Okay, so as I create revenue bin, the same fashion I create margin bin. So I'll use margin bin, which is my calculation, simple calculation margin, profit margin. Okay, so I go to edit formula and create bin on profit margin bin. Same, first argument is your measure. So number expression is your margin by customer count. Okay, so I use customer count. From customer dimension, I use customer count or customer number. Into number of bins, I use 10 bins for margin as well, so that both would be in sync. Between, I define minimum maximum value over here. Okay, so my margin can be negative also, so I use minus 8,000 and 10,000. In my example, 100,000, sorry. In my example, margin can be negative, so I get profit margin bin. My two bins get ready. Okay, I got the measures, but I like to visualize this information with respect to a number of order count. So I use one more measure, order count, which also you can find under counts, order count, number of order counts. Okay, if you visualize this information in a tabular view, it won't make sense. You see the bins got created, revenue based upon input values, and margin bin, and this is order count. But the way we visualize it doesn't make sense. It won't be meaningful to the user, so I can go to heat matrix and create heat matrix. So I just changed the order. I wanted my heat matrix to appear at the top, and then the tabular view. So I display heat matrix and I go to edit. According to our requirement, we want I want revenue to be in the column and margin the row. Revenue to be in the column and margin the row, and this would be changed by color, and style I use continuous fill color. Okay, this look little not so meaningful. It taking a lot of space, so I can go to the property section and change the cell width to 10, because we don't want to show the number, we just want to show the color. So you see 10 bin got created for revenue and margin, and the darker the color, the more the customer, more the revenue order count. Click on done, and now you have two view, tabular view and your bin view, both together. I can see them, right? So when I place my mouse cursor here, I can see the number of count. Let's order this. The number of order count is 48890, which shown over here with the darker color. The intersection of my margin bin 0 and revenue bin 3. This is how you can use bin function, and you can use heat matrix to visualize your data. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to access more example of OBIEE advanced analysis and other data visualization tool. So should you have any question, please feel free to write to us, bisptrainings.com. Thanks for joining today's session.